Welcome to the Arundel Camera Club live stream for May 14th. I'm Mike Thomas. I'm your host for the evening. Your normal host, John Milliker and Chris, are in Las Vegas, and I'm jealous. I just want to make sure that everything's up and running before we go too far. Can someone put a text comment in there that they can hear me? If you can hear me, just send a little text message on Facebook to let me know that you've got me receiving me loud and clear. I'll wait a second for that. All right, they can hear me. That's a good sign. That means things are all connected and working. I love it. All right, let's talk about some announcements. May 15th, this weekend, we're going to have a field trip to Brookside Gardens. Check the website and Facebook for details. On May 19th, our speaker had to cancel on us, so John Milliker, our club president, is going to stand in for him. Stay tuned for more details on that presentation. On May 22nd, we're going to go do another meet and shoot. The last one was so popular, we're going to go back to Fort Smallwood Park. We're going to start at 10 a.m. in the morning this time. On May 26th is our end of year virtual banquet. So come to that to see the best of the best images of the year. We'll give out the best photographer of the award for both novice and unlimited. We'll give out the trophy for the best image of the year. So please join us for that wrap up for our club year. And then looking forward in August 21st, pending COVID restrictions, Jackie Colstock has graciously volunteered to host our club picnic again. And August 26th, first meeting of the 2021-2022 club year. And again, pending COVID, hopefully this will be an in-person meeting for those of us who feel it's safe enough to get together. Certainly, if you're at high risk or haven't been vaccinated, please use your best judgment. Okay, so we had some unfinished business at the business meeting. So we had to have a runoff. Did an electronic poll last week to select our fourth contest theme for next year. So our contest themes will be architecture, abstract, interesting perspectives, and reflections. So the officers will get together and get those defined, and we'll set the dates for those, and we'll share that with you this summer. But start thinking about those and shooting for those contests. Also exciting news that we decided at the business meeting, in case you weren't there or didn't hear, we're going to be moving to a new meeting location and a new meeting night. So our new meeting location will be the Severna Park Baptist Church Fellowship Hall, and we'll be meeting on Thursday nights starting 26 August 2021. That's just a little ways down from the Severna Park High School, where we've been meeting for a very long time. Parking should be better, internet, cell reception should be better. We'll have plenty of room to social distance. So looking forward to this new meeting location. A few announcements for the Maryland Photographers Alliance. Last night, May 11th, Lance King gave a presentation. You can go to the MPA website, and they should be posting the recording for that so that you can still watch that. On May 26th, Roman Kriskock will be giving a presentation on photographing wildlife from portraits to flight. And then October 3rd, it's not too soon to start thinking about this, will be their 5th annual photography contest. Our judge tonight is Terry Pelmer. Sorry about that. I believe this will be the 3rd time she's judged for us. She did one in person, she did one virtually last year, and so she's graciously agreed to come back and help us again. Looking at her bio, I really liked what I saw. When you see words like her art reflects her personal view of the world, An electronic stylus is her paintbrush, and a computer screen is her canvas. Um, those are music to my ears. Terry, would you like to say a few words?
Um, it's a pleasure to be back here with all of you again, and I was looking forward to seeing the wonderful images, and I was not disappointed. Though there were fewer than I expected, but they were really top notch. So, um, looking forward to talking to you about my reactions to them.
Okay, so before we get into the contest, this is our club events contest for the year. We had a number of club events that you could have attended during the course of the year, our meetings, some of our meet and shoot outings, some of our field trips. Unfortunately, a lot of things that we normally do were canceled because of COVID, like the Renaissance Fair, a lot of the fireworks displays last year, our Christmas party, things like that were canceled. So we didn't have as many events as usual. Surprisingly, we didn't have any novice entries tonight. So we only have unlimited entries. I'm not sure why that happened. I figure it has something to do with COVID, kind of a surprise. But we have 16 uh, unlimited images we're going to go through. And unlike our normal contest, this will be a mix of black and white monochrome images and color. They'll all be unlimited, and the participants were allowed to submit 2 images per event they attended. So 1 color and 1 monochrome image for each event they attended. And then we're not going to give first, second, third, fourth place ribbons tonight. No, we're looking for the best of show. And the best of show will win a free membership to next year's club year. So with that, I'm going to move over to start displaying the images. And we'll go through these one at a time, and I'll read the titles. And then we'll go back through them and give Terry a chance to critique the images and help us figure out which one's the best of the show. So, first image, Bluebird, number 2. Second image, Chickadee. Third image, Bluebird. Fourth image, classic car. Fifth image, flying fish. Sixth image, one happy dog. Seventh image, Smallwood. Eighth image, solar halo. Ninth image, space station. 10th image, spring chick. 11th image, blue jay. 12th image, soda fountain. 13th image, clean and gasoline weekly. 14th image, landing. 15th image, tree reflection. And the 16th image, tree with sculpture. So those are the 16 images that we have to work with tonight. And we're going to start with the first image. And over to you, Karen. Terry, we've got image number 1, Bluebird.
Okay. This was an absolutely stunning image. The colors are very striking. The eyes of this bird are really captivating. I love the composition. The head of the bird being framed by the hole in the wood. It's almost like a halo, and that's balanced by the circle and the knot of the wood beneath them. It's just a really wonderful symmetry without being boring. The sides of the image, though, were distracting for me, especially on the right side where it was yellow and green. My eye kept flitting over to to the left side. Um, and my eye kept flitting over to the left. And what I would suggest doing in that is to desaturate it, and that will at least remove that color distraction, and it would balance off the lighter white wood on the right side. The other thing about this image is that when I looked at it large, you could see that there was a lot of noise. And I actually took that into my Photoshop program and used the denoise program on it, and could eliminate that. And just treating it with a denoising program made a tremendous difference, and it would have really been spectacular had that been done.
Was that in Photoshop or was that another program?
That was Well, I used Topaz denoise through Photoshop.
Great. All right, we ready for the next image?
Okay,
Number 2, chickadee.
this one was technically fantastic. I love the capture of those wings in motion. It's got great detail. The negative space of the sky is nicely balanced by the heavy bark on the right, and the ratio of the dark to the light works in that image. The light space is got enough variation within it, so it's not boring, and it's um, just a nicely composed image. I think it would. No, I'm going ahead of myself. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that one. It's just very nice, technically
All
beautiful.
right, then let's go to number 3, bluebird.
This looks like it's the same bird, and it's also quite a nice capture, especially with the eyes, capturing those eyes. That's always compelling when you can do that. And the colors, all of these colors work very well together here. Um, but I'm a big fan of the rule of thirds and um, the golden the golden um, uh,
Ratio.
ratio. Thank you. I'm blanking on words. Um, and when I look at this, the bird, which has got to be the focal point, is the most vibrant uh, component of the picture, is all in the top third of the image, and the rest of it is just um, supportive. I think that this picture would benefit tremendously from some judicious cropping, and bringing the bird in a much more prominent position. What I would do is probably cut a lot of the lower part of the image to put the bird more centered.
All right,
And
are you ready for the next image?
next one.
So the next one is 4, classic car.
I really like this. You're really captured by those headlights right away, and then you see ceiling lights in the back that kind of repeat the two yellow spots very nicely. I like the colors. The blues and the yellows work really well together. Um, Checking my notes. After you see those two, the next thing you notice, which because it's right front and center, is the grill, which has some beautiful detail in it. But again, looking at the rule of thirds, all that whole floor takes up the bottom third of the image, and which is really has very little interest. So would do some cropping again and cut off some of what's below it. Get those headlights more toward the center, and because they're really what you look at first. Um, let's see. And that's all I have to say about that one.
Okay. When you pause, I think we're ready to move to the next one. So I'll just
Yeah, I'm just checking my notes to see if I had anything else written down.
C or number 5, flying fish.
Um, this fish was really very, very striking, and it was a kind of interesting image to look at. The fish is clearly the point of focus, and it's a really nice capture. The positioning of the tree makes for an interesting kind of pedestal for the fish, which is kind of makes you stop and think about it. I did find that the details at the very bottom of the frame were distracting because you start to look down there, and it's really not where you want your viewers' eyes to move down to. You want to keep it up by the fish, and so some cropping I think would be in order. Um, little off the bottom and maybe a little bit off the sides to just kind of keep that focus. Um, that's yeah.
All right, number 6, one happy dog.
This one I really liked it. I mean, obviously, the first thing you see is the dog with its head out the window, and that's always an enchanting kind of image to see. What makes it work even more is that the dog and its golden hair and white face are in really stark contrast to the other grays of the image. Well positioned within the frame, and is just technically excellent. It's nice picture. That's
Number 7, Smallwood.
Oh, my first reaction is those eyes really grab you of that bird. It's well composed within the frame. I like the fact that its wingspan takes up the entire frame. Um, the I did have an issue because the sky really held no interest. It needs some sort of subtle clouds or something, and maybe some a deeper gradient in the sky to at least give it some context and let you know that there's something beyond instead of just this bird kind of cut out and put on a relatively bland background. Um, there's when I looked closely at it, I could see some color banding on the edges of the wings, and that was distracting when I looked at it carefully. And when I examined it even further, I was thinking that if you could increase the contrast of the bird and get rid of that color banding, you could really make it pop a whole lot more than it does. That's it.
All right. Number 8, solar halo.
Um, I like the composition of this. It's an it it took me a while to figure out what I was looking at because I didn't read the title first, and this nice circle in the sky with a bright spot in the middle, framed by the trees. It's just pleasing to look at. Um, there's it's more, but for me, it didn't evoke any kind of emotion. It was more of an intellectual exercise, but it's a technically it was an excellent picture.
Number 9, space station.
This was fascinating. I really love this. I didn't know what it was, and I don't know what it is, um, but it certainly holds my attention because there's so much to look at here, and the lighting is just mysterious in a way. Um, the little knobs on the whatever they are, those cones, and the orange dots on the all around just balance it out and gives it an extra level of interest. Um, there's great contrast. I'm one who really likes contrast, and this one does that very well. The only suggestions I would make on this one is that on the lower right and on the middle left, the orange spots are a little bit brighter than they need to be, and they pull your eye away from the center, and I might dull those down a little bit.
Number 10, spring chick.
This one was absolutely fabulous. The little duckling was mesmerizing, staring at whatever that was in the water. The reflection is perfect. The positioning of the duckling was perfect. The reflection adds a tremendous amount of interest to it, and the only thing that I would suggest is that in the lower right hand corner, those I guess they're some sort of leaves or something coming up from the water are a little bit distracting, and if you could just desaturate them a little bit or darken them a little bit, somehow make them a little less, give them a little less pull on the eye, it would be an absolutely fantastic picture. Um, there's also an emotional content to this because uh, I mean, baby animals are always adorable, and this is no exception. And it just really, I could stare at this for a long time and enjoy it.
All right. We are on number 11, blue jay.
This is a very well composed picture. I liked it. I liked the framing of the bird between the two branches, which are very nicely balanced in um, their weight around the bird. Um, the and but while the picture itself is very high contrast, the bird is not, and so the details that are captured in this bird are lost, and you could really make that bird pop by um, working on some of the curves and increasing the contrast within the birds, or brightening the whole picture. In fact, um, if increase in contrast doesn't give you what you want on the branches, you can always mask that out. But the bird itself, I think, really requires some extra mask, some extra contrast.
Number 12, soda fountain.
This one brought me back to my childhood. It reminded me of the old soda fountain I used to go to as a kid. And you know, I like contrast. This one has lots of contrast. It's stunning. Um, that said, and it's perfect in black and white, especially because it's so old timey. Um, but that all of that said, I I was wondering, and this isn't necessarily a solution. It's just different. Um, I was wondering how it would look with a little bit of a blur around the edges to give it a more of a memory feel rather than a sharp look. Um, just something to play with. It would change my emotional response to the image. Um, but that might not be what the photographer was looking for. But so I like the picture.
All right. Number 13, clean and gasoline weekly.
I don't know what these are, but I like the composition. This was a a nice, there's nice symmetry here. There's nice balance here to the images, both in the lights and the darks and the length of the instruments, whatever they are. Um, uh, it's nice and sharp, and it's you could actually see the numbers very clearly on the instruments, and the edges of the tools were nice and clear, very technically well done. Um, but I think you can make it pop a little bit more by increasing contrast or just some curve adjustments. But I do like this image.
All right. Number 14, landing.
There's great detail in this picture, and that's really its biggest strength. You can see the fish that the tail of the fish that the bird is carrying, and it's very crisp. It's got some good contrast, and there's a nice sense of motion in it that really comes across. The only thing lacking is some context for the bird, and what I think would help is if there was some subtle clouds in the background or something, maybe, you know, because of the fish, if you could have an ocean scene in the background. It says my microphone appears to be noisy.
Oh, that's just you shuffling papers and stuff. It's not a. Yeah.
Okay. Um, so just a little. I actually tried it. I took an old picture of clouds that I had and put it behind it, and to my eye, it really helped. Um, but technically, this picture is fabulous.
All right. Number 15, tree reflection.
I like the symmetry of this picture. It works very well in black and white because it cuts out a lot of the distractions that might have otherwise come up in a rather complex image. Um, my my major problem with it is that there's no real focal point unless you come to the absolute center. But then all the tree branches pull you in opposing directions. Um, so I was thinking that perhaps some selective blurring might help around the edges, or um, I'm not really sure what to suggest on that. But conceptually, I like it, but it doesn't quite work for me.
All right. And the last image, number 16, tree with sculpture.
This I found very, very intriguing. It's actually quite sensual with the tree knots, and and this sculpture in nestled within those. It's just kind of an interesting image. Um, it it's artistically quite beautiful. Um, it's perfect positioning of the sculpture, and and it's clearly it's clearly a wonderful focal point. It's the lightest uh, part of the image. It's the most area with the most contrast. Um, I find the context of puzzling, and I don't know that that's a good or a bad thing. You know, you kind of it makes you wonder, why is there a sculpture in the middle of this tree, and why um, what's it doing there, and what's the message that the photographer is trying to send to the viewer. Um, it's really visually interesting, and intriguing is, I think, the best word for it.
All right. So, I'm not sure how to proceed from here. One suggestion would be to maybe identify your top 3 or 4 images before you announce your favorite
I
for
can do.
best of show. Um, if you just tell me which ones, I will tag them and then we'll just display those.
Well, number 9, space station.
Okay.
Number 10, um, number 13.
Okay.
And I would include number 1 except for the noise issue. So,
All right. Well, let me just put those 3 images up on the screen. Let me make them bigger so everyone can see them. All right. So we're looking for the best of show. What's your thoughts?
well, I actually think that we can eliminate number 13 because that needed a little bit more effort to make it.
So 13 is the Clean and Gasoline Weekly.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that takes us down to deciding between Space Station and Spring Chick. And that's a very hard decision because they're both um, really wonderful images and very, very different from one another. And if since I have to choose, I would go with the one that is more emotionally evocative, and that's the spring chick. I think I could stare at that one a lot longer than any of the others. Um, just kind of trying to get inside its head, look at what it's seeing when it looks at that little thing in the water.
All right. So we'll do this like Jeopardy. Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer.
All right. So the best of show image for our unlimited club events contest is Spring Chick by Mike Thomas, me. That doesn't look suspicious at all, does it? All right.
I didn't know.
Um, thank you so much for your insightful feedback on all of the images. That's almost as important as winning. Uh, Yeah, we really appreciate your time and looking at the images and eloquently sharing your thoughts on them. And the fact that this is the third time you've done this for the club. Normally we have these nice little ballpoint pens with the club logo we shared. We owe you like three of them now.
Well, I had the
Next
first
time,
one.
oh, you have the first one, so we owe you two more. Maybe when you get like five, you can trade them in for a mug or something. But thank you again, Terry. We really appreciate it. Everyone, that's all we have for you tonight, and we look forward to seeing you next week. And the rolling credits.